When I was at university for my fine art degree, over a decade ago now, quite a while ago, on the very first day of our studio practice, my studio lecturer came in and he sat down in front of us and he said, "Look, art isn't rocket science." And then he paused for dramatic effect and he said, "It's harder." At the time, I thought, what are you talking about? He didn't really elaborate at the time, but after 4 years of that degree and, another decade plus since, I think I've come to realize what he meant. And I think if you put it in the context I'm about to explain, it will make a lot of sense. Firstly, and I think most importantly, what he meant is that sticking with art as a career is incredibly difficult. There are so many times when you just want to give up, when you've been rejected several times, when nothing's coming together, you can feel very isolated, you're getting no exhibitions, you're just making work and it's sitting in a void and in a vacuum, and you're like, what does this even mean? What is the purpose of it all? And this doesn't just go on for a few days or a few weeks or a few months. This can go on for years. Potentially, this can go on throughout a person's whole career. So there is something else that keeps you in being an artist. And that something else is essentially faith or belief in what you're doing, I suppose. But I think the most important thing that he was referring to when he said that art is harder than rocket science is that there is no set path. There's no going and doing a degree, which is what we did and what you might think will lead to great outcomes. But there is absolutely no guarantee. And I think you're lucky if one person from your cohort will make it in the sense that everybody dreams of at the beginning. Um, so there is no set path. I don't think it really matters whether you go to art school or not. There is a certain place where you might land if you go to an art school in a university, but equally, people who haven't done that and are self-taught and have established their own practice over time can end up in a really surprising place too. So I'm not sure that that is what's most important. I have pros and cons about my art school experience, and I might talk about that in another video. But essentially, when it comes down to it, I'm glad that I did it. But let's get back to my point. My point was is that there is no set path and it can be really, really uncertain. So if you want to be a rocket scientist, you're pretty much going to go to university, you're going to study physics, you're going to try and get in with, a company or a government agency that researches rocket science stuff. Look, I know nothing about rocket science, but you can see that there's probably a path that you can see forged ahead of you. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't take really bloody hard work and commitment, because it would. That's why there's not many rocket scientists, but there is a path that will guide you there. Whereas with being an artist, there is no real path, and you have to forge your own, and that is scary. So oftentimes you will just be completely lost in the wilderness with no signpost to guide you, and you'll have to find your way out into the meadow, into the light. And, not all of us make it. I still feel like I'm wandering around in the forest on a daily basis. And yeah, it is difficult, but I've learned to kind of enjoy I don't want to say, it sounds cheesy, not enjoy the journey, but think of it as an adventure, or not even an adventure. That sounds corny too, because there are days that I don't want to be in the forest. I want to be in the meadow, or sometimes I just want to be down the beach, you know, not thinking about it at all. But it's more about, we're drilled as artists, if you go to art school, to be in the process, to stop thinking about art as a final product and think about it as a process of making, a process of discovery, a process of research. It's all process. You're constantly in it. You're constantly in the muck. You're rejigging things. You're prodding here. You're asking questions. You're going, what will this material do? Or how can I stretch this medium to its limits? So that's what you're taught to do. And it is such a valuable teaching, because if you're always stuck on the final product, inevitably, time after time, you're going to be disappointed because oftentimes it just doesn't work out the way that you thought it would or the way that you wanted. So you have to start to learn to enjoy being in the weeds. And the weeds can be so murky and kind of blocking the view and thick and full of prickles. I'm really doing well on these metaphors, but it can be a really uncomfortable place to be. And it's like, so it's kind of like Buddhist philosophy. You have to sit with that. You have to sit in the uncomfortableness. You have to kind of take it in and learn to let it flow through you. And sometimes being in it can promote new thoughts and new ways of working and new ideas. So, my point was that art is really, really hard. And I see a lot of people on social media starting up and then being disappointed when things don't take off really quickly. I've been doing this for, like I said, over a decade, well over a decade now, and I haven't even reached the beginning of where I want to be in this journey. I feel like such a newbie. I am often surprised by people who feel super confident in what they're doing. Because I just feel like a babe in the woods and I'm just feeling around like this, you know. I don't know what's going on half the time. I have so much self-doubt. I feel like I have imposter syndrome all of the time, but I've just got to kind of buckle up and be brave and put my big girl pants on and just walk out there like I own it. So I want you to know that if I seem like I'm owning this and I know what I'm doing, I have absolutely no idea. So that's my little pep talk for today. I'm not sure that's a pep talk at all. I hope it doesn't put you off, because honestly, this is the only way I know how to be and the only thing that I know how to do. I haven't lasted very long at conventional jobs. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it's not easy. Art is hard. Art is hard. Okay, let's move on from that. Those of you who watch other videos of mine know that I've been working on a lot of ceramics lately for a show that's coming up in about 10 days now. It's really exciting. I cannot wait for this show to be on. But I just fired my last kiln load of glazed pieces for that show. And I'm going to show you one of the pieces from that kiln load that I'm really, really happy with. I actually didn't think it would come out in one piece. I've had a few accidents with pieces in the kiln for this show just because I'm pushing my own limits. And I don't have a lot of ceramic training. Um, I did some lessons when I was in Brisbane with a wonderful teacher, but they were quite casual lessons. So I'm kind of navigating ceramics on my own, which I'm not sure is wise. And I'm thinking of doing some more structured classes next year. But I have a lot of accidents. Well, I have had lately, actually. Anyway, this thing worked. Let me show you. So this is a candle holder. And as I said, those of you who watch my other videos know that I've been working on this work, and it's based loosely on the myth of Persephone, the Greek goddess, who was taken to the underworld. So this represents her life on Earth, so with the beautiful flowers, and then the snake represents the underworld, where she ended up. And this is a nice weighty piece. And I love the colors. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. And then you put this little candle in here. This is just a little battery operated candle. And voila, beautiful candle holder. So I was really happy with that piece. And then I also made a cup based on Greek drinking vessels. This is obviously a very simplified version of a Greek drinking vessel, so I've really simplified it. And then I've added my own touch with a bee, which refers to, again, fertility. Bees are pollinators. So can you see that? So yeah, I was really happy with this one too. It's got a nice weight to it as well. Not too heavy, of course, but yeah. So that's two things I've made for that exhibition, which is coming up very shortly. As I said, I'm very, very excited. The other thing I wanted to show you this week is my 7th piece in my Hymn to Her series, which I finished. And this piece is all about the Greek primordial goddess called Gaia. Now, Gaia is the goddess of the earth, the sea, and the sky, but she's more than that. She actually is the earth. She is the stuff that the earth was made of. There are lots of fantastic stories about Gaia. Some of them are really wild. There are lots of stories about her children. She gives birth to monsters and all kinds of creatures. So I would encourage you to look them up if you're interested in mythology at all, because these stories are wild, like really wild, off the charts wild. Anyway, let's show you my piece. I'm just going to stand back. So here we have Gaia as earth and sea and then sky up here. I'm using the snake and the bee a lot as symbols lately. In my ceramic work, which I just showed you before, you saw the bee and the snake again, and they are popping up a lot in this series as well, which is nice. It's nice to have some symbols popping up repetitively in works, and this has been quite by accident. So it's really nice to kind of see the same things popping up every now and then in my work. So this was a lot of fun to paint. I'm really enjoying doing these larger scale watercolors. They're quite illustrative, very illustrative, but that's just the kind of work I like to make. So yeah, flowers, bee, birds, and the sky up here, and Uranus, who was her partner she had children with. Okay, that's Gaia. All right, let's take a look at what else I got up to this week. Come on. I started out this week by cleaning the shelves in my studio so that I could move some stuff from my desk to the shelves and thus make some space that I could work at. So I did a lot of underglazing this week, and that's what I'm doing here. There's a couple of plates that I worked on, and my goal was to get all of these things fired this week, which I did, and I'm very, very happy about that. Now, here's a piece I worked on that absolutely failed. I have made 4 bunches of grapes since I started this project, and none of them have come out of the kiln without cracks. But yeah. Here's a piece I showed you earlier in my video, and this is me working on that. So you have to underglaze it all first, and then you put a clear glaze on top before it gets popped in the kiln and fired. I also returned to my copper etchings this week. Here are the plates that I scratched into. This is before they're etched, before they're put in a bath of acid and the copper gets etched. I spent a whole day doing these 3 plates, and here are my test prints that I did in the print studio. These were just my first prints, so they're not a great example of what I want them to look like, but I was really happy that they worked. I've actually done more since I did these, and they look really, really good. I'm very, very happy with them. So I can't wait to show you them when I'm finished. I also started a very brand new piece in my Hymn to Her series this week, and this piece is based on Mary. We all know Mary. Well, most of us know Mary, I suppose. I shouldn't say all of us, but yeah, I'm painting the Immaculate Heart of Mary and kind of doing my own little twist on it. But Mary is a very important figure to me in my life, so I had to include her in the series. Finally, I got out and about a lot this week because the sun has been shining and spring is here and it's just glorious. I actually did a lot of walking, and one day I ended up in Fremantle, and of course, what do you do in Fremantle? Well, you have to do a little bit of thrift store shopping. It was such a nice day for it. This is one of my favourite op shops or thrift stores in Freo. I always find something here, and I love looking at the collectibles shelves. I found something here. I found two things here. I found this gorgeous little cut glass container and a sweet little ceramic vase, like I need another vase. Oh my gosh. And I also found this amazing dress. I never wear dresses above my knees. I know this is quite modest, but I'm feeling like I'm going to this summer. Anyway, this is me walking around Freo a bit more, just having a nice time. And now I'm on the train heading home, going over the river. Such a beautiful day. Look at that sky. It's just so nice to be out in the sun lately. And the beach is calling. It's nearly beach time, nearly beach weather. Yeah, so it was a nice week. And then I came home and look at my garden. It's doing quite well at the moment. And here's my little op shop container in my bathroom, and I found a use for it right away. All my scrunchies can go in there. It's kind of fun. Yay for op shopping! Okay, friends, well, that's all there is from me this week. I hope you've had a wonderful week, and I hope you have an even better week to come, full of creativity and making fun things and getting in the weeds and, being lost in the woods. Thank you for watching again, and I will see you next time. Don't know what I'll do next time. Maybe another vlog, maybe another tutorial, but soon we'll have a little video on my upcoming exhibition, and that will be a lot of fun. So again, thank you for watching. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. It really, really helps, and my channel's growing and it's really exciting. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I am out of here. Big love. Peace. Bye.